I'm Teri, and this is Tea with Teri, where we talk about thoughts, emotions, and actions. Today, I want to talk about a thought. And this thought is the concept of lasting change. And we often have these thoughts that are driving our behavior and our emotions, and we don't even recognize them. And so, for some of us, this place of lasting change can feel like a disconnect because we might actually have the thought around lasting change, and then we tell ourselves very quickly that nothing lasts forever or I'm incapable of change. And so today, I want to invite you to think about this concept of lasting change. When I was training as a This Naked Mind Institute coach, Annie Grace taught us that there are certain keys to lasting change. In other words, you can stack the deck about lasting change. And since this is a thought exercise, the first thing I want to do is invite you to explore your thoughts around change and lasting change. And so we can't make any progress toward discovering how to change or if change is possible until we are aware of the thoughts that are creating our capability and ability to change. So ask yourself in a very simple exercise, what comes up for me when I think about creating change and when I think about creating lasting change? Now, a great example of change is to take a look at your relationship with alcohol, because you may be like many of the population, and you may feel that you cannot tell yourself that you will stop drinking forever, or you don't want to tell yourself that you can stop drinking forever or will stop drinking forever. And so this is a great thought experiment, because if you ask yourself, can you stop drinking forever? See what comes up. See what sort of resistance comes up in your mind around this thought. And then change that question slightly and ask yourself, will I stop drinking forever? And so that's really the first place to start, because if the thought that we have is working against us, then we're going to make very little progress. Because if we have this question, can I stop drinking forever? And our brain says, well, that's impossible. How do you know? Forever hasn't happened. I don't know what's going to happen next year. Maybe I want to have a drink sometime. Maybe something will happen in my life and I'll go back to drinking. Like, I don't know if this will be forever. And so if that's you and your brain starts to head down this path or this trail of resistance or throwing up excuses, or just, entering into a place where your brain is working against what you think maybe you want or what you're trying to accomplish. Notice that, because we're not going to get very far if we say, I'm going to stop drinking forever, and then we don't really believe it, or our brain is actively working against us, telling us thoughts that are very different than the behavior we want to create. And then the next part of lasting change is to really recognize, how do we build lasting change? So here's two thoughts for you today. One is around this idea of anticipation. So anticipation and having something to look forward to is one of the keys of lasting change. Because if we make a change and we're miserable, remember, humans are designed to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So if you make a change in your life, let's say you give up watching Netflix and you're miserable. And so every night your brain says, ugh, it's going to be terrible. And this feels awful. I'm deprived. Everybody else is watching the best shows and I'm trying to read a book, and you're miserable. It's going to be very challenging to stick with your new habit or to create the desire of change that you want. So anticipation is really part of this. And then, having something to look forward to is part of that. But often, one of the ways that humans are motivated is by having something to look forward to and sort of having that prize or that incentive or that carrot at the end of the journey. And so lasting change can be helped by recognizing the positive aspects of the change and then doubling down on having something fun to look forward to. When I used to coach in the Path group with men and women who were taking a 1 year break from alcohol, we often talked about carrots. And so perhaps at 90 days, 6 months, a year, you have a treat for yourself. It could be something simple like a new book. It could be a vacation. It could be a piece of jewelry, whatever works for you. But anticipating something connected to that change really is one of the components of lasting change. All right, well, I said two, but anticipation and lasting change really go together. So the other one is to really explore the thoughts. And are your thoughts supporting lasting change? And if they're not, this is where thought work comes in. You can ask yourself, well, what do I believe? And how can I create a thought such as, I'm really encouraged by the progress I'm making toward this change versus I'm going to stop drinking forever. See what feels right for you. Use these very powerful tools to help you create the lasting change that you want. All right, well, that's tea for Teri today, and I'll see you next time.